Hi, so today we're going to read chapter 2 of Captain Underpants. This is for Wally, Carlos, and Starling only. I know the last time I logged on, Wally was the only student who scored 100% on Ed Puzzle, and he read chapter 1 with me. So Starling and Carlos, you need to do more. So I'm going to read chapter 2 and chapter 3 with you today. Before we read, I wanted to just go back and remind you what the first chapter was about. So the first chapter, they introduced you to two boys, George and Harold, and those two boys liked to play tricks. Ellos quieren jugar bromas. So today, let's make a prediction of what you think is going to happen. So I'm going to scroll down, take a look at pictures of this chapter, and I'm going to make a prediction based on just looking at the pictures that the boys like to write, because that's the only thing I see about those boys. So the boys like to write. So I see pictures of, I think this is George writing a lot of stuff here. I also see Harold writing something. So that's my prediction, the boys like to write. So I think I'm going to write the boys are writing a book, maybe? Okay. All right, so that's my prediction. I'm going to go and read chapter 2 out loud, and then in the meantime, we'll make some clarification. Okay, chapter 2, Treehouse Comics, Inc. After a hard day of cracking jokes, pulling pranks, and causing mayhem at school, George and Harold liked to rush to the old treehouse in George's backyard. Inside the treehouse were two big old fluffy chairs, a table, a cupboard crammed with junk food, and a padlock crate filled with pencils, pens, and stacks of paper. So I want to make some clarification. So I want us to figure out what this word means. Jokes. Remember, we learned this in ESL. It's chistes. So, and also the word pranks means bromas. I think I spelled bromas right. So it says, after a hard day of cracking jokes and pulling pranks. So this means that George and Harold quiere hablar chistes y jugar bromas, okay? They like to rush to the old tree house in George's backyard. So afuera de la casa de George tiene una casa en un árbol. So ellos quieren jugar adentro, okay? All right, so the second page says, now Harold loved to draw, and George loved to make up stories. And together, the two boys spent hours and hours writing and drawing their very own comic books. Over the years, they created hundreds of their own comics, starring dozens of their own superhero. First, there was Dogman. Then came Timmy the Talking Toilet. And who could forget the amazing Cow Lady? But the all-time greatest superhero they ever made up had to be the amazing Captain Underpants. So what the summary of this is, so let's make a summary. George and Harold like to write comic books. So, eso los dos quiere escribe los historias de cómic. So they wrote Dogman. So recuerda cuando nosotros leemos Dogman, George y Harold escribe y dibujar las pinturas adentro del libro. Okay? All right, so let's keep going. So let's go back to our prediction. It says, we predicted durante una predicción, it says the boys like to write and they are writing a book. So, esa predicción es verdad porque nosotros escribimos, ellos escribir un libro. Entonces ahora, Harold y George escriben un libro de cómicos, tiene palabras y tiene dibujar y fotos. Okay? George came up with the idea. Most superhero looks like they're flying around in their underwear, he said. Well, this guy's actually flying around in his underwear. The two boys laughed and laughed. Yeah, said Harold. He could fight with veggie power. George and Harold spent entire afternoons writing and drawing the comic adventures of Captain Underpants. He was their coolest superhero ever. So basically, in this paragraph, George and Harold escribe una historia sobre Captain Underpants, sobre la aventura de Captain Underpants. So they wrote a story about the adventures of Captain Underpants. So yo pienso este libro es mismo de Dogman, pero tiene otra persona, no Dogman, pero is Captain Underpants. So I predict that the story is like Dogman, but with a new hero, Captain Underpants. Okay? So esa historia es mismo de Dogman, pero con un hero nuevo, Captain Underpants. Luckily for the boys, the secretary at Jerome Hort's school was too busy to keep an eye on the copy machine. So whenever they got a chance, Harold and George would sneak into the office and run several hundred copies of their latest Captain Underpants adventure. After school, they sold their homemade comics on the playground for 50 cents each. Okay, so aquí, este significa ellos vender. They sold their comic books, vender los historias para 50 centavos, okay, para cada libro. So they sold their comic books for 50 cents. Okay, so that is chapter 2. Do we have any questions? I don't think so, but if you do, you could always email me. Let's read chapter 3, okay? Chapter 3 says, The Adventures of Captain Underpants, written by George Beard, drawn by Harold Hutchins. So, it was a time of darkness and despair for planet Earth. Bad guys had taken over the street, and all the superheroes in the world were too old to fight evil. Okay, so there are bad guys. And then these were superheroes, but they were too old. So what does too old mean? Old significa viejo. And fight. What does fight mean? It's either luchar or pelear. Okay, so these guys were too old to fight the bad guys. Then came along a new, improved, extra strength superhero. Tra-la-la. Look up in the sky, it's a bird. It's a plane. It's an egg salad sandwich. No way, it's Captain Underpants. Captain Underpants was faster than a speeding waistband, more powerful than boxer shorts. He's able to leap tall buildings without getting a wedgie. Tra-la-la! Night and day, Captain Underpants watched over the city, fighting for truth, justice, and all that is pre-shrunk and cottony. Meanwhile, at a nearby elementary school. Okay, so before we talk about the elementary school, los dos páginas sobre un nuevo hero, that is Captain Underpants. Okay, so this is new hero is Captain Underpants. Why do you think they need a new hero in town? I'm going to ask you that. Take a second to think about it. Why do you think they need a new hero in town? So this page is going to help you figure it out. Okay? If you said that they needed a new hero in town, porque los otros heros son viejo, entonces that is correct because the old heroes are too old. So they need a new hero, which is Captain Underpants. Okay? Okay, in La Escuela. It was Stinky Taco Surprise Day at the cafeteria. Yuck! Everybody hated it so much they threw the tacos away. Soon the cafeteria food came to life. I am the inedible Hulk. The monster ran around the school eating everything in sight. Help! The inedible Hulk just ate up 15 folding chairs in the gym, teacher. Oh no, not the folding chairs, said the principal. This looks like a job for, tra-la-la, Captain Underpants. Captain Underpants shot lots of underwear at the monster, but it didn't do any good. Munch, munch, munch. So Captain Underpants took off running. The inedible Hulk chased him. Grrr! Help! Remember this word chased? We learned it 2 weeks ago. Chase significa perseguir. So I'm going to write this here, seguir, so that you remember. And chased him. Finally, the inedible Hulk got too tired and thirsty to chase Captain Underpants. What about a nice drink of water? So the monster took a long drink from a shiny white bowl. Gulp, gulp, gulp. When suddenly, flush! Hooray for Captain Underpants! And so the inedible Hulk got flushed away and was never heard from again. Tra-la-la! The end. Wow, that was a lot in the story. So let's go back and let's make a summary because that's what good readers do. Let's start with this, okay? So I'm going to ask you, what is the inedible Hulk? Okay, the inedible Hulk is basically the taco. So no one liked the taco. El taco no es delicioso. So everybody threw it away. Se pone en la basura. And so the taco changed into a monster. Cambiar para un monstruo. Monstra. Let's just write that down. No one liked the taco. It changed into the inedible Hulk. And so, in the inedible Hulk perseguir Captain Underpants y come todas las cosas, okay? And finally, después persiguiendo, he went to the bathroom para tomar agua. Okay, so let's write this down. The inedible Hulk chased Captain Underpants. He drank water from the toilet. And how did Captain Underpants get rid of the inedible Hulk? Captain Underpants flushed. Ese palabra, flush him down the toilet. Okay, so the word flush, esta palabra flush, es mismo de tirar, okay? O, yeah, apretar el botón para the toilet, okay? So that's essentially chapter 2 and 3. I will upload chapter 4 and 5 later on tonight. All right, we'll see you later.